All right, Kenny. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Kenny finishing university with his degree, with his bachelor's degree in engineering, and he moves on into life. Kenny, after school, after you finish your university training, you tried out a little bit at the medical side. You didn't like that. You try psychology, right? And you.
I want to be a psychologist.
Right, and you spent
Couple of years.
2 years, and after the 2 years, you found out that you knew
Much as they could ever teach.
as much as they could ever teach you, and you lost interest in that, and you quit. Or I should use the word quit, but you leave school, you leave the university.
I was 40, I couldn't deal with it.
So that's part of the reason too. You didn't want to stay in so long for that type of training. All right, and you said you went and you worked for your two of your professors. Also, three of the professors. All right.
That was from MIT.
All right, from MIT. All right. So after all of these now, Kenny, you're now out. What's your next move? What you did after that?
A gal that worked with my mother, and it was like a right arm in her jewelry business.
Oh, that when you worked with your mom for 30 days?
It was. Yeah. But Rhonda, my second wife, you say, I told her I was going to Florida, and she really was mad about me. So she says, "No, let's go to Puerto Rico. I'll go with you. You go with me." I says, "Okay." So we took off to Puerto Rico, and we said we were married, and we really weren't. And that's how I ended up in Puerto Rico. And then GE sent me to Philly, and they interviewed me and hired me out of Philadelphia for Puerto Rico.
That's General Electric.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I worked out of Philly, and I was a manufacturing engineer for the Caribbean. They didn't have a lot of plants, and their plants maybe employed 200 to 300 employees as opposed to thousands. But when I opened up in 2 years, I opened 3 new plants.
Okay. In
Puerto Rico. Well, one in Vieques actually, off the island, another island. And we got a 25-year tax exemption. That's what the Navy bombs. It practices bombing and kills all the fish. You say. Very nice. Yeah.
All right.
Sweetheart.
So, how many years you were in Puerto Rico?
2 years under contract with General Electric. Actually, about 2 years, 2.5 almost, because I didn't work for the first 6 months. I just went to pools.
And just for perspective, what year was that? What year?
68, 69,
69,
to 70.
Okay. Then you.
Rhonda got pregnant. We came back.
Right.
I didn't want to go under contract again, so she could have the baby. We wanted to have the baby at stateside.
Yeah, that's interesting because you told me you came back into the family. You were living at your mom's place when you came back from Puerto Rico.
No, actually, I lived at Rhonda's.
Oh, at Rhonda's. Okay.
House. Yeah, I had a dog too, and they didn't like dogs. They had a big German Shepherd, but they thought they loved Thor. Yeah, they even took me in. Yeah. Yeah, and she was an only child, and her dad, we took off, we weren't married, and her dad accepted me. He liked me. He was a real good guy.
Yeah.
He was actually the assessor for the city of Gloucester, the head assessor. So he was a good guy to know.
Right. All right. So tell us what you did after that, after you came back. You know about that how you get into business.
Right. Rhonda was very well liked in Rockport, which is a tourist area. Was
right.
The next town down over. That was the end of the road. We were in the water after Rockport.
Right.
And you had to be willed to store in Rockport. They just weren't available. But Rhonda got a store, and we went the candle business and started making candles and going to craft shows and buying candles. Ended up with quite a nice store. And candles were the rage. Just as we got in, it was pretty lucky.
Yeah. What kind of candles
all
were you?
Candles.
All
very unusual candles.
A very unusual candle.
Yeah.
So it would be perfect to say decorative candles.
Oh, these were quite the candles.
Yeah.
And that's really what continued by retailing, because Harvard Square was a place like Truth.
No, we still at the Rockport. You started one. You started.
One location actually moved.
Right.
To another location. The first location was a candle store, and then I was offered a candle store in Cambridge, Mass.
Right.
Very, very busy underground mall.
Yeah.
That had about 7 stores and a couple of bars and a coffee shop and a theater. And what happened is this fellow asked all the salesmen or had his employees ask him, which, if you're going to pick a candle store, whose would you pick? And they mentioned me in Rockport. And he came down and loved the store. It was the first store in his mall. And he wanted to sell it and raise some money. Because he wanted to go and start importing Crabtree and Evelyn from England. And so
Crabtree
and Evelyn, which is a soap company.
And Evelyn.
Yeah, from England. A very nice soap line. And so he practically gave me the store. He wanted me to have it because it was the first in the mall. And eventually I owned all of them.
All right. You owned all the store in that mall.
Right.
In that mall.
I actually had the candle store, and then there was a ladies' room, but I turned that into a jewelry store going to the
Jewelry store, yeah.
The next store was the soap box connected to the gift store. And then across from that was the clothing store.
Yeah.
And then down the hall a little further was the toy store. And then the kitchen store. And I had all those stores.
Yeah. So you had about 7 stores
underground.
mall.
It was the most popular place. Obviously, it was very busy. It was the underground mall. Everybody knew it.
That was now in Harvard.
Harvard Square.
In Harvard Square.
That's right.
Okay.
Where Harvard was, and Harvard
Right.
Coop, and just a melting pot of people. You know, students.
That's the same Harvard Square, the same era where Harvard University.
That's correct.
Harvard University.
Yeah, just a lot of action. I mean, tons of action.
So that was like a metropolitan city with everybody coming in, going
Right,
to
all college students, just literally thousands of them. I used to sit out on my wall out front, and just look at people's shoes. And it was just a melting pot of people around the world going to school.
Yeah.
There's all the great colleges right there.
Yeah. Harvard, you know, is one of the institutions from way back when that, you know, as a Jamaican, I learned that it was very willing to accept colored people even from way back when, and that's where a lot of the brains in colored people
Harvard's quite
went.
the place, I'll tell you.
Right.
You have to be a smart person to
enter Harvard.
Yeah, they don't take
But you
that.
entered Harvard.
Yeah, but they didn't know any better. They didn't know any better, Deli. What can I tell you? They were brain dead. They did more drugs than I did, I guess. Yeah, man.
All right, so you own the 7th store on that mall.
Right.
And that mall was owned by
A fellow named Cyrus Harvey.
Cyrus
Real
Harvey
smart boy.
and his partner.
Well, no, actually, Alan was actually his comptroller. He wasn't any partner
Okay,
yet.
it was his controller, like his financial
Right, he
controller.
worked for Cyrus.
Right.
When they moved out and moved into Connecticut, to Avon, Connecticut, and started the importing of Crabtree and Ever, that's when Alan became a partner with Cyrus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kenny talks a little bit fast, so he says Crabtree and Evelyn.
That's correct.
Crabtree and Evelyn. That's the company that was importing.
No, Crabtree and Evelyn was a soap company in England.
Was a soap
Cyrus
company?
was importing, was sole importer
Right.
of Crabtree and Evelyn.
Oh, okay.
He put his money in. You want to buy Crabtree and Evelyn, you have to go through Cyrus.
To Cyrus. Okay.
And I did also.
So you were getting stuff from
Cyrus.
Cyrus.
That's right, out of Connecticut.
Out of Connecticut.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Treated me really good. You know, I made sure I had inventory. It's hard to get at Christmas time, let me tell you. In the soap box was only 10 by 10, 100 square feet. They did unbelievable. So
Yeah.
you need tons of product.
Yeah. And how many you went on to get very big in the business with the soap business with Crabtree? Yeah.
What happened is a developer, this named Rouse
You said
Corporation.
the Ross Corporation, the
Rouse,
developer
They're
of
a
the
big
malls.
developer of
the
malls. That's
right,
correct.
Right.
And they went around the country and actually picked places like Faneuil Hall in Boston that were pulled back years and years where they sold the meats and the vegetables, and they developed it and redid it, and it was just, that's the place. And in Miami, it was right on the water. In Baltimore, Harbor Place, and they're the best in development, and they're in all the best places. And they wanted my soap store, and I own the soap store now outside.
They wanted what?
They wanted one of my the soap store I had in the Faneuil Hall development.
Right.
And they came to me, and they actually offered me $25,000. I was the only one that was offered money to have a store in Faneuil Hall.
In what
In Faneuil Hall,